I just got the text saying you sent me the link.
Oh, nice.
A little behind. You look fine.
All right, we're on.
Okay.
All right, beautiful. Okay, here we go. To some fun ones today, Pops. We are the Dave and Dave Show, and episode 99. You know the Jay-Z song, "Got 99 Problems, but a bitch ain't one." I said I got 99 problems, but a close home isn't one. All right, here we go. Or an agent isn't one, because we got 475 beautiful, producing, excellent real estate ninja warriors, assassins. So here we are, December 30th. Can you believe it?
Goodbye, 2020. I've seen better.
And as usual, I am in disagreement. We talked, thank you for doing one thing. You finally set me up with the softball that I always set you up with. I was talking to Eddie Rome the other day. Eddie, if you're watching, and he was like, "Oh, I caught a little bit of the Dave and Dave Show." That's what I hear all the time. "Oh, I caught a little bit of the Dave and Dave Show," and he's like, "Man, your father just does whatever he wants. Doesn't really pay attention." I'm like, "Yeah." Now, for a little context, Eddie I've known since the day I was born, and my dad's his godfather. So Eddie's saying this, he can get away with it. I said, Ed, I set him up for these questions that are so easy. Like I prime him, I frame him, I throw up this huge softball that all he has to do is swing very gently, and it's the easiest hit in the world. And he just avoids the whole friggin' thing.
About a swing.
Does whatever he wants. But you see, I am not going to I'm not going to ignore the softball you just threw me. You ended last week's conversation, I just remember this, by saying,
"Oh, I'm sorry, my washer and dryer. Go ahead. I'll be back."
And here we go. So he ended, we don't need him. He ended the conversation last week by saying, "Listen, I can't wait till 2020 is over." And one of the things, was that her growling, or did you just lay one? That was her growling?
No, that's me throwing the phone on the desk.
So he keeps saying, a lot of you saying, 2020 is such a crap year, and I can't wait till this year is over. And I addressed one of my responses to that in the beginning of this video. And I put, when the clock strikes 12 midnight tomorrow, you're still going to be you. And the world is still going to be the world. Like, this isn't like Cinderella, where like everyone turns back into, the pumpkin.
Cinderella.
So, you got to take this opportunity for reflection. And I think these are these line of demarcations. Like, you're not going to wake up and all of a sudden do everything that you want to do. Like, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of alignment. There's a lot of commitment that needs to happen. But that's not even the major point, Pops. The major point was, I look at 2020 as the best year of my life.
I love 2020. Someone asked me what to be thankful of, and I said, Gianna. To me, 2020 brought your daughter in, and that's one of the best memories I'll have. So I could find that silver lining.
All right, I'm gonna force you to go deeper. And if you're watching, I'm gonna force you to go deeper. Write down, if you're watching, 5 things that, because this year happened, because we were in a pandemic, because there were riots, because there was a crazy election, all of these things. Write down 5 things that you're going to look back and go, because 2020 happened, I have been changed for the better forever because. Right? And that's the question when he comes back, I'm going to ask him, because that's the challenge. Like, if you don't have some perspective from this year, you have missed the boat. This is the life-altering event that most people wait for, that changes your life and your trajectory and your path forever. Now, I have a buddy that went through some tough times. His wife did some really horrible things to him, so they got divorced. He had some health issues, and we look back, and I say to him, you know, if your ex-wife hadn't done this, you wouldn't be the man you are today, which you're grateful for. If you didn't have this health issue, you'd be 80 pounds heavier. It forced you to make a change. So you look back and you say, wow, that was one of the most terrible, most difficult times in my life. But without that, my life isn't as good as it is today. So at the time, we look at it as just the end of the world. Like, how am I ever going to recover? But if we have enough perspective and gratitude and foresight to look back and say, without that terrible thing happening, I don't have the next 25 great things. I don't have the hero's journey of picking myself up and making myself better. I don't have the appreciation, gratitude to go back to that person and say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you did, because that made all the difference. That made me wake up. And man, what a frame of mind. What a strong mindset to be able to look at the worst situations in this world and say thank you, because without that, I would not be who I am today. Right? I'll give you an example. Last 2 nights ago, I woke up with the most horrible pain I've ever experienced in my life. And I was like, what's going on? Is it indigestion? Do I have like a kidney stone or whatever? And I was just in so much pain. Nothing would make it go away. I couldn't lay down. It was just a wreck. And I've had it once before, and they didn't really know what it was, just really bad indigestion. But I didn't want to go into a hospital. All the COVID, the last place I wanted to be was the hospital. So I was saying to myself, all right, I'm just going to make it through this. Well, when I started seeing stars and I thought I was going to pass out, I said, oh, I guess I'm going to the hospital. And I really highly recommend this Dignity Health over here. I went over there, nobody there. Turns out I have a gallstone that's like a centimeter long or a centimeter wide, right? And I'm probably going to have to get my gallbladder out. And I was like, all right, how am I going to look at this? I mean, most people say, you know, having your gallbladder, you know, it helps like break down fat and bile, and it's the space between your liver and your small intestine. So then I looked at it and I said, well, let me look at it this way. Regardless if I get this gallbladder out or not, I'm going to have to change the way I eat, right? So I started looking at this like, maybe this is the thing that needed to happen to change the trajectory of the one area of my life where I struggle the most, right? With not eating everything that's in front of me, right? Italian curse. We love to eat. So I can look at this as like the end of the world. Like, man, I got to go potentially, because we're not sure yet, to get laparoscopic surgery and whatever. Or I could look at it like, so I don't tell you this, Dad. I was Googling something about the gallbladder. Oh, of course. I was like, can you drink alcohol without a gallbladder? But you know, when you Google stuff, everything comes up, like multiple questions. And it was, do people who don't have a gallbladder, do they live longer or less?
Longer.
You want to know why?
Why?
They're forced to change their diet.
Yeah.
And I was like, now depending upon my frame, someone could have Googled the same thing and could have looked at 10 different questions and clicked on a different question. I clicked on that question and I was able to bring something good at it. That's how you got to look at 2020. 2020 is someone picking up a shovel, turning it around, and nailing you in the head and said, wake up. Because we don't have enough moments in our life that stop us in our tracks and make us go, where am I? What am I doing? And why am I doing this? And 2020 was that line of demarcation. It's going to be before 2020 and after 2020. Do you agree with this, Pops?
I do.
You have to go.
Yeah, I'll be right there. I just gotta open the door.
Right? So pre-2020, post-2020. Now, a lot of these things are going to change, and we're not going to have a choice on how it affects our lives moving forward. And I think a lot of us are finding out the hard way that, hey, you know what? We have to submit. Like my biggest thing is commit and submit, or you could flip it around, submit and commit. But committing to things is committing to what you can control. And the only thing you can control is yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and how you react to things. Submitting is submitting to the things you can't control. And that's the outcomes. I could do everything right and control and commit. And then it doesn't work out for me on the outcomes. And I have to submit to that because it's out of my control. And 2020 is people fighting it still fighting it. But if you commit and submit, then you really aren't banging your head against the wall anymore and saying, why does my head hurt, right? It's that age-old thing where you're going like this, and you're looking over going, why does my head hurt? Because you're banging your head against the wall, dummy, right? So I think with this pre-2020, post-2020, we need to force ourselves, rather than focus on 2021, that's going to be the year that everything goes back together. I think that's the weakest thing you can actually do, is putting control into the world around you to be like, oh, it's just going to figure itself out, rather than putting it on yourself to continually look for the gifts of every situation. So let me re-ask the question to you, Pops. What about 2020 has changed your mindset moving forward, right? So you had 2019, you had a couple months in 2020, and then boom, lockdown, right? How is your life going to be different moving forward versus what it would have been if the pandemic never occurred?
Okay, number one, I am going to appreciate family much more, and I say I love you much more than I ever did to every good friend and relative that I never said before. Number two, I am going to enjoy what I took for granted last year in 2019, and that is getting together with family and friends, vacationing, enjoying the best of friends and family. I am going to do all those things once we are set free. And I appreciate my life more because many people have died. And I look to 2021 to be a much more passionate, loving, enjoyable time.
Hold on, I'm gonna get myself a cutie. This is a cutie. All right, I'm gonna give you mine. I kind of do it in every which way. So business-wise, I'm grateful. This was the year we started EOS. I'm grateful for our amazing team because they stepped up. And without COVID, I don't know if we would have had the opportunity to become even a stronger, cohesive group, because we had to step up, right? As owners in March, where everyone was letting people off, we found out, and I think our staff found out, that we walked the walk, right? We kept them, we didn't take away their salaries. Like we did what we always said we would do. So I think I'm very grateful for that experience because I believe it made us stronger. Also, I believe made us less micromanagers, right?
Yeah.
Again, he leaves. So with the business, right, part of our lives, I'm grateful for that. There's so many things with business. I'm super grateful to be saying to myself, wow, who would have known real estate would have been an essential business throughout the entire time. So super, super grateful for that. And then lastly, to get out of the way. It's easy to micromanage. This is our baby. I'm just happy. Like I may have gotten into this, and my dad and I, where you don't let the people around you do the work because you do everything. So that's in business wise. In relationship wise, Angie and I have chaos. It was private school, events after school. Then Angie got pregnant, so that would have been chaos. I mean, we had someone cooking for us. Like it was a madhouse. There wasn't as much intentionality and just let's breathe. It was like a race, always a race, just to get more and more done. And I think in my house, not even I think, I know, we've been able to exhale and enjoy each other, play more games, spend more time together. This Christmas, was the best Christmas I've had in probably 5 years. And I thought about it, Pops. The gifts we gave each other weren't rushed. They were thought out. We put up our Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. We usually put it up a couple of weeks before Christmas. We got the lights done on our house. Usually these are things that fall through the cracks because we're just too busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's an intentionality about it. And so just in our family and our relationship, and Angie and I have connected at a deeper level. My kids are everything to me, but just being able to spend more time with them. I mean, you stopped by the other day and all four of us were playing Mario Kart in the girls' room. The baby was laying on the floor. It was like kind of cool. And that's not something I think would have happened as much in 2019. So then also, we made some family decisions on how we want to live our life and how we want to spend our free time, and got really clear on what we wanted to do, because this life isn't guaranteed. And I think we need reminders that it's not. So my
Well,
mindset
there's a positive to every negative. And I think everyone will say that clarity is the word. Whatever clarity it is for you, clarity is the word of 2020, because you did learn what you want and what you need to
well, I don't think everybody did. I think a lot of people fought it and just wanted it to stay the way it is.
Well, that isn't reality.
So so the way I look at it is, look at the four areas of your life, your health, and hopefully I got one last gift right before the year's up with this gallbladder thing, that was the year that I got my gallbladder removed, or I figured it out, so that I can live long enough to see Gianna's, 40th birthday or 50th birthday. And let's see, I'm 43. She's 3 months.
Maybe science will help that.
I'm going to be the bionic man.
50,
So,
you'll be 93.
simple stuff, Pops. Reading is one of my favorite things to do. And I was just so busy and so in the business, and the two things that I spend the most time with are my family and the business. So those are like my number one things. I've really worked on my mindset, but that's in a continued game, and my body's another one. But like having fun. Fun for me is a lot of different things, but one of them is I love to read. And I got so stuck on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, plus Facebook, plus all this, that I wasn't reading as much, right? I was stuck in and then I was doing the Netflix thing. I've probably read like 10 books in the last 4 months. And it's so important to just be like, why can't I have 100 pages a day for me? Why not? So having that clarity, having that perspective is a huge game changer. Okay. Let's continue on to the next topic, which plays right in. Let's go right into, one last thing. I do want you to, I said this comment a bunch of times. I said, what is it going to take in a mindset shift for you to look back at 2020 and say it was the greatest year of my life? So
You're asking me that question?
you don't have to answer it. I'm just saying is the goal is to 2025 to look back and go, wow, without 2020, I wouldn't have been doing this, and this. Thank God for 2020. When you weren't talking, I was like, thank God for the ex that cheated on me. Not me, I was talking about a friend. Thank God for the health thing. I mentioned my gallbladder. Thank God for the things that were perceived as difficult, painful, and hard. Thank God for those things, because it made me who I am today.
I could do one already. As far as the health thing, I never had, or mentally never took the time to make sure my health was right. And for the first time in 2020, the doctor said, there is absolutely nothing I could tell you wrong on your blood test. I had perfect blood tests. First time is in 2020. Why? It was intentional, because I was home, I took much better care of my health. I walked, I took the right pills, I take vitamins now. So 2020 has definitely brought me a much more conscience about knowing my health and getting to better health. which I ignored because I was always working.
Beautiful.
So that is one of the benefits of 2020.
All right, let's talk about goal setting. I know we talked about it last week, but I want to break it down. So getting clear on what your goals are is game one, as part one of the game. For Urban Nest agents watching, we are going to have one last focus day tomorrow. Okay, 9 to 11. I did it early. I don't know who's going to go out and party in anyway, but 9 to 11, one last focus day. Well, here's the thing. I meant to bring this in last week. This is the goal setting Bible right here. Is it backwards when you see it?
Some of the letters are, but yeah, not the week isn't, but some of the things are.
How could one of the things be backwards and not everything? Oh,
maybe because I'm a lefty.
I just saw it on Facebook. It's perfect. 12-week year by Brian Moran. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. So here's the game on this. This prefaces it. So everyone gets motivated and they come up with all these visions of what they want to do. They get clear. And then January 1st hits and they find out, wow, I'm the same person living in the same life in the same world. This helps you chunk it down. And the whole point behind it is this. When you look back, Dad.
I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Explain it.
You see this? I have 3 kids, multiple more commitments than him. And yet, I managed to pull this off. So I'm going to tell you. Here's how the 12-week year works. You look back of the past year, right? And the easiest one for me is weight. Let's say I've lost the same 30 pounds probably 10 times, right? And for me, losing that 30 pounds is usually like 5 months of me pretending to commit and then finally committing. And it takes me like less than 3 months to lose that 30 pounds. Okay. But when I look back at the year past, and during the years I lost 30 pounds, I go, wow, I lost 30 pounds this year. That was a success. Where really it was a 3-month success. But because I did so well in that 3 months, I consider the whole year a success. You with me on that?
Yeah.
Let's say somebody makes $100,000 and they look back over their year on transactions in real estate and they go, wow, quarter 2, I was nest level. Nest level is the thing we do. You do at least 5 transactions in a quarter. You get nest level for the quarter. 20 deals is for the year. That's something we do here. Let's say they look back at the second quarter. They go, I did 5 deals in the second quarter and I made about 50 grand. And then the rest of the year, I made the other 50. That quarter is the best quarter of the year. And you look back and so the premise behind the 12-week year is this, that we give ourselves way too much time to accomplish goals that could be done in 3 months, 12 weeks. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that if you do your year right, you break it down into 4 different 12-week years. And you could get done in 4 quarters than people can in 4 years. So if you can compress a year into a quarter, 12 weeks, right? 3 months, then you can compress a month into a week, and you can compress a week into a day. And I don't know about you, Pops, but I've had weeks where I'm like, I got nothing done, 0. And I've had days where I got so much done, it felt like I got 2 weeks of work or a week worth of work in one day. So this book shows, like, listen, challenge-based life, right? And you know what the best part of the 12-week year is? The 13th week. You know what the 13th week is?
Vacation.
So how many vacations a year would that be?
4.
How many people you know going on 4 separate weeks of vacation a year.
After Corona, that's nothing compared to me.
So there's time for celebration. And it goes deep into, all right, I opened right up to the J curve. How good is that? They go through how to plan your week, and then they have a Sunday thing. My coach, one of my coaches, I swear to God, he got inspired by this book. He never admitted it, but he would call Sunday the general's tent. And the general's tent was to go over the week past at the same time going forward. Because what happens is, and we just did this for an hour and a half prior to this meeting, we have a manager's meeting, which we use a system. And we go over all of our company goals, our to-do lists, right? And even with going over it weekly, things fall through the crack. But without consistently and continually measuring what you do and going back to your goals, you forget. You just forget. So if you're not writing this down, you're flying blind. And that's how people go, I don't understand how I did no real estate transactions in the first quarter. Well, I'm glad you're clear that you want to do 6 transactions in the first quarter or 10 transactions in the first quarter. But have you tracked all the activities that you're doing week to week? Did you plan for them? Does that make sense?
In all businesses, not just real estate, everything. And for someone like me that doesn't like planning the whole year, I'm not a planner. 12 weeks is so manageable, A, for planning, but B, for results. I like instantaneous results, and I could do that in the 12-week pattern. If I do it in the year pattern, I'm not as good. So
I think it's chunkable because people definitely overestimate what they could do in a year and they underestimate what they could do in 12 weeks, right?
plus, sometimes when you make a year goal and then you fail, you feel like, oh, I failed for the whole year, screw it. And when you make a 12-week goal, you could end it saying, I didn't accomplish, but the next 12 weeks are in front of me.
And there's no reason why people can't lose 25 pounds, make $50,000, be dating your wife, be more present, connected to your children, be meditating every day and having a strong morning routine after 12 weeks. So that's why it's this challenge. It's my coach called it challenge-based lifestyle, where it's like you can look at it as these chunks of like, okay, and it has a sense of urgency for you too. Like you can't keep putting off your goals when you know you got to get them done in 12 weeks. And
so
listen,
I'm going to put you, what's your goals for 2021?
So it's funny you should ask.
Did I set you up? Did I send you to softball again?
No, I was going to talk about a visualization technique that I do for you to reverse engineer what you want. And I'll get to that. My 12 weeks are simple, right? I'm looking at it like March 13th was the day we got shut down. Like that was when the world ended.
It's the last day I was
Friday
out about.
Friday the 13th, right? And I know everyone has lived different lives since then, but regardless of what you believe or what you feel or how you've reacted to it, your life has been impacted by this, whether financially, mentally, even if you're out and about, how you travel, where you could go, what you could do has been affected. And I feel like that is the year, right? And if you round off the end of March, it's pretty much hopefully with vaccines and herd immunity, whether you're someone who's just going to get it and deal with it or someone's going to get a vaccine, hopefully the unofficial, maybe we'll start seeing some normalcy by the end of March. So I believe this is a big thing. So for me, I want to come out of this. So I have my exact weight. I want to lose 40 pounds, right? And be done. But if I don't, I don't. I think it's totally doable. Actually, I take it back. It's only, I got to do the quick math. It's 37 pounds, okay? So 37 pounds, but I want my blood sugar perfect. I want my triglycerides perfect. I want my vitamin D up. I want my cholesterol low. I want my blood pressure down. all of these things will happen by losing weight, right? So that's my body goals. Then you could say, like, for instance, you with your teeth. I'm not looking to do anything cosmetically for myself, but who knows? If I lose 36 pounds, maybe I'll start putting a little beard coloring in these whites, right? So that's the body, right? That's my body goals. Now I should be able to do, let me get it wrong. If I hit those goals, there's things I'm gonna be like, wait, I could probably lose another 15, or maybe I need to work out more and get more muscle. And then I have new goals quarter 2, right? I could still look at the end of the year and have an overall goal and then chunk down the 4, right? That makes sense? You with me? And so, and then when it comes to my mindset, I want to finish creating some stuff for my coaching program. And you would say, well, Dave, that's business. No. With me, my mindset, my purpose, my meaning is to see people change their lives, to continue being a coach, a teacher. That's my purpose, right? If you haven't watched the movie Soul, Soul, it is one of the best movies. It's on Disney Plus. They really talk about your purpose, and having meaning. And that's my purpose and meaning with Urban Nest, with this, anything I've ever done, being a teacher, being a coach, being a mentor, being a leader, like this is what is my purpose. So I need to finish off some stuff in my coaching business. That's my mindset goal. My relationship goal is simple. I want to have a house for my wife and my children outside of Las Vegas that we can travel to and have that second home. That's not an easy goal. I got to make more money. I have to feel comfortable with the price. I have to be comfortable with the fact that I may not use it as much as I want. So that's a goal. Okay. And then business wise, all our goals. We just went over them all, right? So they're all there. Finishing the level up path and the ICA and all that good stuff. So if I don't track these goals every single week, then Q2 is going to hit and I'm going to go, shit, I weigh the same. I got the same health issues. I still haven't bought a house. I haven't done any work on my coaching program, my curriculum. And we're in the same spot at Urban Nest that we've been since, and you lose the 12 weeks. So this is how you make change. Just getting clear on what your goals are is tough, Pops. I mean, what are your goals, right? Buying a house, I know is one for you, right?
I want a vacation home. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to keep myself healthy to go through this virus. It's one of my main goals. I want to just see the business do everything I can to make the business better and better. And our agents
help with those, yeah.
Yeah. And then all the life goals. And then that's my first quarter. My second quarter is going to be very drastically different.
Yeah, because then you're hoping you'll have the vaccine, and I'm sure you'll be traveling more and things like that. And even your role within the company, and like it's just different games. So when I talk to someone, they're like, "Well, how's your role changed?" I go, "Well, I'm not teaching a net sheet anymore, right? Like that's really the difference of the role." So all these things have to play. But here's the thing: getting clarity on what you want is a tough game in itself because people have forgotten how to dream, right? But once you get clarity, then you need the blueprint on how to get it done. And that is what requires the work. I did a post the other day that you have to be prepared for the pain that comes with change. Because what you're saying is you want to change your life. So getting clear, you're already ahead of the game. But doing the work to get to have the change, that is equally as difficult. But to me, at least when you weren't clear, you were ignorant on what you wanted. Once you know what you want and then you don't do it, that is hell. So you got to do both. And
I'll
one
be
of the
back in 1 minute.
all right. So I'm going to do a technique with all of you that are watching or who are watching it on replay. This is a visualization technique to really get clear on what you want. People have a problem really getting clear on what they want. So it's simple. Everyone thinks they want to have a lot of money and be super attractive. All right. So they have a hard time getting clear on all the other stuff. So the way it goes is, we did this with Tony Robbins years ago, is you close your eyes and you do this meditative practice. And when you close your eyes, you picture your perfect day. Okay. So let's say I'm doing me. Close my eyes and I'm picturing my perfect day. I wake up. Where are you? What does your house look like? Who's next to you? What do you look like? How do you feel? How many kids are in the house? Are kids in the house? Right? So you're picturing, you could do it 1 year out, 3 years out, 10 years out. You could do, what cars are sitting in the garage? What does your view look like? Are you in Las Vegas? Are you in Newport Beach? And you start going through. What is your morning routine like? Are you working out because your body looks great and you're maintaining it? Is it 5 a.m. so you're getting your 3 hours in before the whole house wakes up, right? And you go through, and throughout the whole thing, you're visualizing what your life looks like, but you're also very aware of how you feel towards yourself and the people in your life. And so as you go through, all right, am I having breakfast with my family? What does that look like? What is my kitchen? Am I looking out my kitchen window and I see the Pacific Ocean, right? At 9 o'clock, what job are you going to? Do you own the job? Do you own the company? Are you doing what you love? Are you purpose filled, right? And you go through, then you come home. Do you come home when they tell you you can come home? Or do you come home because you want to be with your family, even though you're enjoying what you do so much? You're cutting it off at 4 so you could be home at 5 and connect with your family and turn it off. Are you taking your wife on a date night? Are you going to a show? Can you afford the tickets that you really want? Can you afford the tickets and not only afford them, but not even have a second thought? Go through the entire day and then open your eyes and go, oh, that sounds like a beautiful life. Who do I have to become to have that life? And then you reverse engineer it. I need to take care of my health. I need to spend more time with my wife. I need to date my wife. I need to spend more time with my kids. I'm going to have a mindset that has amazing capacity so that I can grow and grow into this person. I'm going to have systems and processes in my life that I can trust these people with this part of my life. I'm going to have to be diligent. I'm going to have to make changes. And that is how you start dreaming again. Does that make sense, Pops? When I went through that visualization technique, could you imagine that life, like when you wake up and you feel great and the dog's there, and then like, am I going to go to Pasadena for the weekend? I'm staying in the house I want. I'm going to the dinners I want. I got a vacation planned. I'm still so plugged into Urban Nest, not because I have to, but because I want to. I got a lot that I could still share. I bring value to the table. I'm spending time with my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandchildren. Am I doing it for you right now?
You're a heavy thinker and a visualizer. I think I have it there, and I think about it silently, and I don't vocalize as much as you do. But yes, to all of them, that's exactly what I want. And sometimes I can't think, and you're one personality, I'm another, and I'm sure there's people watching that may feel my way and your way. Right now, I don't allow myself to think a lot of those things because I am, in a position where a lot of that can't happen for me until certain other things happen. So,
Yeah, but that's the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's where you
yeah,
have to, that's where, like, when we have the conversation, I was talking to some of my other friends the other day. We had them over. Some people were very aligned with how they're treating COVID-19. Had them over for Christmas Eve, and I said, "Well, what's your end game?" Because some people are scared of the virus and scared of the vaccine, right? Then I'm like, I don't know how you navigate the end of this. How you, right? Then some people are not scared of the virus and they're not going to get the vaccine. They're probably just going to get COVID. And there's probably a 98 to 99% chance and nothing bad is going to happen to you. Great. Then there's some people who are scared, who are taking the virus like, well, I could be the outlier. I think me and you are kind of in that camp. And I'm going to take the vaccine. And I'm pretty pragmatic. 98, 90% 99% chance for someone like me, even though I'm 43 and I could lose 30 and have some gold bar shit issues like that. I'm still, like, out of my family, I'm the one who's probably the one who would have an adverse reaction, right? You're pushing your high 60s, you have past heart issues.
I'm
You
gonna
probably
be
have,
60 in June.
so whatever. You're saying, okay, so we are saying, fine, I want the vaccine. If the vaccine keeps me off a ventilator and out of the hospital and having potential heart issues down the line, sign me up. I don't care if it's 30% effective. If it does those three things for me, cool, right? And I'm taking the risk. The vaccine could have some adverse effects. Just like some people take the risk with COVID. They're like, well, odds are in my favor. Maybe there's some adverse effects from COVID, right? But between those two big groups, not taking the vaccine, not worried about COVID, or worried about COVID, taking the vaccine, we may be able to hit herd immunity there with half the people, or a good, maybe 40%, 30% of the population taking the vaccine, 30, 40% of the population being getting the virus, and then maybe some people could sneak through the middle, right? But the reality, reason why I bring this up is I believe you have to have something to hope for, right? Remember Shawshank, and Red was sitting there with Andy Dufresne. Red was Morgan Freeman. Andy Dufresne was Tim Robbins, right?
Tim
And
Robbins.
they're sitting there, and Red is like, hope is a dangerous thing, Andy. Like, telling him he's in there for life and he better give up. And I'm getting chills talking about it. And Andy's sitting there like, I refuse to give up hope. And that's where that quote comes from: get busy living or get busy dying, right? And Andy, of course, I hope you've seen the movie. Maybe you should. It's this great story about hope. And it's interesting to me, you don't have to be as open with your goals and your fears like I am. I think sometimes maybe I'm effective at communicating is because I'm okay being vulnerable in that conversation and open, which gives people permission to give it back to me, right? But even then, this is a conversation that you need to be having inside, Pops, right? And I think you have it. I think you think in your hearts, maybe your pessimistic side is like, shit, is this the way I'm going to have to live for the rest of my life? And the optimistic side is, give me every vaccine you have, even if it has to be inserted in my eyeball, right? Because I need that hope moving forward. And again, no judgment. I think if you're under 60 or under 55, you don't have the understanding of what someone like you or my mom, or who are like, I can't wait to get the vaccine so that I have that permission to go out again, right? So I think you have to have that hope. That's number one.
I'm gonna boost the economy when I'm free.
But
I am gonna
you are,
boost the economy.
but hope and dreams are very similar. And if you give up that ability to dream, your life is over. The quote of some people, how does Mark Twain say it? Along the lines of, some people die at 25 and live to 75, right?
Mhm.
Meaning they gave up on themselves and they sold out so early that they lived the rest of their lives not living.
Well, I understand that I don't feel it, but I do understand it. No,
You
I'm
have,
look, and let me tell you, I look on the internet, and I've been looking at vacations. I've been looking at Greece. I've been looking at different countries I could travel to, and what I could do. And so, hope lives eternal within me, on what I want to do. But uh, I agree that you have to plan what you want to do. You have to find your joy.
well, then
Find your
what happens? You die in your own house watching TV, right? And that's why you're like, oh, goal setting, whatever, 12-week year, I'm really going to invest. If you don't create your life, then it gets created for you. And then you wake up one day and it's over. And listen, whether there's a God, whether it's energy, whether there's a universe, we all have our own takes, but we don't know for sure. And even in this movie Soul, the whole point of the movie is the purpose of life is living. And I think we forget that. And to live a life you truly want, you got to make some goals. You got to have, you want, I'm assuming, Pops, you stay with me, a body. This is the way I put it in direction this way.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah.
A body that can do this stuff. Even if your mindset's great, great. But if you're dead because your body is no good, then you have the best mindset in the world. So you got to take care of your health first. And let me tell you something. My wife, I love her to death, Angie. When I was in so much pain, doubled over 2 nights ago, and I was like, I said to her, because you know how psycho I am. I'm groaning. I'm like, God, like, what should I take? Should I go to the hospital?
I thought you were great compared to the pain.
Oh, it was like someone sticking a knife in my sternum and just right. And I said to her, it's so funny. As I'm like, this is what I was saying to myself, so crazy and like delirium. I go, no one to blame but myself. This is me because I'm not taking care of myself. I'm having these issues. Like first, I was totally going after myself. Then I was like, everything is clear when you're in pain. Everything is clear. Nothing matters. You don't give a shit about anything. You don't give it more energy than it deserves.
Yeah.
Right? You've been there. You've had horrible stuff happen to you. You're not thinking about any of the shit that is like, seems like a big deal from day to day. I mean, listen, you're on the 52 years old. They told you you're going to live 3 days. You're in literally your deathbed.
8 years ago.
16 years ago. What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about anything other than your family? And I just want to feel without pain. I mean, right? Is that pretty much it? So
you think of your life, what's your life without pain or illness? And you realize your number one blessing is just to be healthy. That is number one.
Any amount of money at that point, right? For your own health. So I think that's why the body has to be number one. Then the mindset's got to be strong too. You have to have that mindset. And you naturally, Pops, have been really good at this. You're by far from perfect with your mindset, but you have taught me the ability to pull out the positive of any situation and really, and I've taken it a step further and really learn it and apply it, almost to the point where I'm looking for the situations that I can flip and turn into a strength. So that's where you have the strong mindset. And then that's you first, because if you're not bringing a healthy body and a strong mindset into the relationship with your significant other, it's going to affect your sex life. It's going to affect your energy. It's going to affect the chances. It's going to affect if you're bringing a confident man into the relationship or a needy one, right? And then same thing with your kids. Can you get on the floor and play with them? Can you teach them how to ride the bike, which I was doing the other day, and I was a little bit of pain going, really, Dave? Right? So that's why you, not selfishly, but you got to have these goals on mind and body first, because this has to be clean. And then you could bring such a strong, abundant, positive, happy, connected person into your relationships. And if you're doing all that, that's all going to trickle down to your business, because people want to work with people. The other book, I don't think I have it behind me. I do. I'm going to give you 2 of the best books that you could read today. This is the other Bible for business, the Go Giver, which is people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Some people call it antitrust. It really isn't. Of course, I'm going to give business to someone I trust over someone maybe who does it better that I don't trust. And if you're on fire in your body, which means you're waking up and putting on clothes that fit well, you feel confident. If you're on fire with your mind, you're smiling and you're someone who people want to be around. If your marriage is on fire, there's not resentment in there, and you're connecting emotionally, you're connecting physically. If you're on fire with your children and they love you and they're your mentor and you connect. If you're on fire with your group of friends, guess what? Your business is going to be a walk in the park. And then all the opportunities you want and want access to are going to open up like a window for you. And that is why, and I don't want to give too much away, Pops, because I'm doing this tomorrow for the agents, but that is why 80% of people in the world have no goals. 0.
But even if all those things aren't in line and you have the fire to change it, you could be just as great to work towards it.
You got to have the hunger and the leverage to change. And unfortunately, people wait till it's too late. They wait till the significant other says, I don't know if the relationship is working. They wait till their kids no longer want to be around them. They wait till they can't pay their bills. They wait till their freaking gallbladder needs to be removed. Right? That's what happens. And then you become, as my coach would call me sometimes, a Lamborghini with 3 wheels that are functioning beautifully and one with half a flat. It's still a Lamborghini. It still can drive really fast going forward. But the minute you try to turn onto the side where it has the half flat tire, that Lamborghini starts spinning out of control.
You making me want to get up and do my 10,000 steps, because that's my little bit of my part of my goals, and has achieved. I managed to do something. Another plus of 2020 is I managed to lose about 35 pounds and keep it off the whole year. Maybe a few pounds came back for the holidays, but that's another positive. But I do have a goal to do even more.
So when you look back, you would be able to say you didn't do it on purpose. 1 quarter you lost it. 1 quarter you hit a goal of all of your physical numbers coming back beautifully. 1 quarter you kept it off, and 1 quarter you put a little bit back on. Right? So you had 4 distinct things. With business, 1 quarter we were normal in business. 1 quarter we were in
first quarter.
Right? 1 quarter we were in survival mode. Let's just make sure we pay all our employees and see how much we can outlast our competitors. Right? That was our goal. We're positioned if they go out of business. Not that we were rooting for it, but we had the capacity to outsurvive them. Quarter 3 was ramp up. Quarter 4 was catch up even more to make it right. So you don't even realize it, but the quarters get broken down. Mm-hmm. Right? Same thing with your mindset. Quarter 1, totally normal. Quarter 2, freak out. Quarter 3, hope. Quarter 4, abundance with a new baby, a new puppy. Quarter 3, you got a new granddaughter. So like your mindset and your emotional health was being changed by quarter as well. Mm-hmm. Right? Our relationship, right? In alignment, father-son, almost every quarter, but sometimes not in alignment as business partners. As the year went on, quarter 2 was great for us because when the going gets tough, that's when we really align. Quarter 3, we were like, what's an opportunity to grow as owners and partners? And quarter 4 is like we're in full alignment and know what our 1, 3, and 10-year goal is. So yes, you don't have to plan it perfectly, but you better have a trajectory and you better have this desire and this hunger to change things or nothing's going to change. People say, how do you get to, they love the hero story, Pops. When I tell the story, like I did a little bit last week of what happened in 1981 to 2020, people love that story, right? Or if I tell the story of Urban Nest in 2012 when we opened, we didn't get paid for 18 months, not one single penny. And I went from having a couple $100,000 in the bank down to my last 10,000, and how we thought we were going to have 300 people, or I did, and we had 50, right? And so people like hearing the story of you had obstacle, 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 and then you succeeded. They love that because it's inspiring, and they go, if you could do it, why not me? But that only happens by being a little crazy enough to be like, I think we could do this. And then having a pad this long of each thing on it going, never done this before, don't even know where to start on this one, don't even know what to do here. Really, we need a tech guy? How do we even handle this? How do we do that? I found that piece of paper to open Urban Nest, and just looking at it now gave me anxiety. And I know I've done it already, thinking if I would have known back then what it would have took to get to here, I don't know if I would have done it.
Ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. But that's how you got to consistently get leverage on yourself, and off we go. I guess I'm already prepped for tomorrow. I'm excited. So what do you think? Did you get a little inspired? Are you ready to go?
I am. The one thing about, I'll say thing in personal life, and then I'll say a comment in business. In the personal life, you have to have the lust for life. You have to have that want for everything. Me, as I raised you, family first. The world could be collapsing as long as I have. When you got sick yesterday, I stopped sleeping, right? I couldn't go back to
I
bed.
heard you spoke to Angie. You guys were conversing about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, love is first, family first. And that's my personal life. It's just that as long as everything's good on that wheel, the rest could be solved. And business wise is still another love. My advice to you, if you don't love what you're doing, get out. Get out of whatever you're doing and get something you have passion and love for. And I love this business. I love all the agents we have in this business. And I think that's one of the reasons you and I succeed in the business, because we love what we're doing. And you talk about business planning and everything else, and it works if you love it. But if you don't love it and you're surviving, then do what you're doing to transition to what you love. Whether it's going to school, taking a second career, you got to love it and have the passion.
All right. So I'm going to unfairly, this is unfair. I'm going to preface this. I just watched a video recently when he said the number one thing, and this, you're not doing, I don't want this to be mean. The number one thing that people who are successful say to other people that aren't successful yet is follow your passion. Mm-hmm. So he challenged that. This is an interesting game. He said, I would argue that you should get good at something, because when you get good at something, it becomes your passion. Interesting.
And I would disagree.
So listen, I'm not saying like you don't keep trying new things, because some people are just never going to be great realtors, or they're going to be great realtors and they're never going to be fulfilled. You could have been a great fireman, but it was never going to fulfill you.
Which I was, and it didn't fulfill me, but I was great at my job,
I didn't think real estate wasn't my passion. It wasn't.
It became it.
Well, no, I carved out what my passion was and found it within the business. Because I did pick the right job in college, and that was being a professor or a coach or a teacher. I just found a niche inside of this game that I can leverage, right? You have always been a giving person. You're still a firefighter. We talk about that, right? You love putting out the fires of the problems and solving the problems of, which is true brokering.
I like throwing the person on my back and saving them.
You love saving them. So you found a spot within this business to do it, right? And you make more money, obviously, than you do being a fireman. And you're risking your life a lot less. Although with some of these transactions, I do believe we're risking your life. So I think we're both there, but you got to get good at something and then carve out what you're good about, because the reality is you can reframe a business or your position you are in that business at any time. Who you bring to that, right?
I agree, but if you're hating it, Dave, you're never going to get good at it. And you need certain times you got to stop and reposition.
All right, so I'm going to agree with you on that, but I will say this. The person that truly hates, let's say, being a realtor, okay?
Should get out of the business.
Wait for it. Could potentially be the same person, more so than not, that's going to hate their next job and their next job and the next job. There are more of those people than the people who are like, you know what, I could be good at this. I see the silver lining in real estate. Maybe it's part-time, right? So the great realtors, the great mindset is going to be able to jump from job to job to job, add a ton of value, be really wanted and needed while looking for their position. And each thing becomes a stepping stone to where, rather than like, I hated being a realtor, to, you know what, real estate wasn't for me, but I learned a ton that I use now in my next position. I think that what you did, from being, a cop to a fireman to a realtor to a restaurant owner, to different to being running a business, to being a general manager for a huge company, to owning a real estate company. Each position you've brought same positive helping Dave that you're able to compound those experiences all the way. So yes, find your passion, but this is what I say to my kids. You want to be an artist? Great. Own the art studio.
I
Like
like it.
that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
Go follow your passion. But don't you did nowhere does it say you have to be a starving artist. Nowhere. And maybe you get some fulfillment because the odds of you becoming, the next Banksy or Basquiat are very little. But maybe you can do what you love at the same time teaching kids how to do it, at the same time helping other artists. And now all of a sudden you own a studio, you're a nonprofit, you're giving back to the community, and you're working with kids every single day. And I believe that's where like passion, yes, but you better be freaking good at it too. So none of this happens without having the visualization of what do I want? And this is what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. What do I want? Excuse me. Who am I? What do I want? And what am I willing to sacrifice to get it? And that's where we'll leave you. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
You ready? You feeling pumped?
I am. I'm gonna go walk. Maybe I'll even jog 300 feet.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Happy New Year to everyone out there listening to us.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.